the round rather of.
Thought that STMN was going to take this one, but I think it's going to be extremely scrappy. It's got to be a 3-2 victory for whoever takes the win in this one. Let's take it over to the stage to welcome our first team.
De retour pour notre troisième match, il y a beaucoup d'ambiance. Paris, est-ce qu'on est prêt? Bonne ambiance sur place, évidemment,
AC
pour le
Milan
troisième
clash.
match qui va commencer ici, à Paris pour Disneyland. AC Milan clash!
AC Milan Clash, the #1 seed from LAT himself, and in fact, the very first team to qualify for the World Finals across all regions this year.
Yeah, a very, very strong team. Have some experience in international play as well. The core team of Kaudong and VTZim was ex-Aphelion at the last World Finals in 2021. Got top 16 there, eliminated first round. And MSI this year, with Moitab joining the team as well, they left top 8, so both big international events, they ended up losing the first round. They are hoping to get so much more, and they've grinded the entire year to get there. It's their chance to make it happen now.
Certainly unfortunate outcomes for this team, but they have one final chance this year to bring things back. They got a little shown up by Zeta Division at the last World Final. Of course, Zeta Division went on to take the entire thing, now facing versus STMN. STMN, they made it to the round of 8 last year. Definitely going to be probably a more convincing game for these guys. We'll have to see how they face versus STMN, our next team here. Welcome them to the stage.
Et leurs adversaires, évidemment, il est du côté nord-américain. Plusieurs pays qu'on accueille ici. Canada, Mexique, USA, STMN!
Bobby, OG, and Czar. Sans is going to be watching from home this time around, as he couldn't quite be with us, but we're thinking about him here too. Wow, what a powerhouse of a roster. As I mentioned earlier, a bit of a tough year. We weren't even sure they would make it. They were not even sure. I remember talking to Bobby a couple months back. He was there like, I'm ready not to make it to Worlds, but obviously the hard work paid off. They are here, they're at the top of their form right now, and they've had some disappointing results in international events in the past. They want to show that they are not only the best team in NA, but maybe even the best team in the world.
Without a doubt, I mean, this team, a lot of people seem to think could go all the way, but maybe it's just NA vibes getting to their head a little bit. We'll have to see whether the NA vibes are enough to propel this team to a victory versus an extremely scrappy and extremely consistent LATAM South roster. That said, STMN, you said they were in their best form of the year, it looks like, and I completely agree. They've taken some very dominant victories, especially landing at the top of some brackets in some first places in the last month or so. So will they be able to generate that into some more momentum today? We'll only be able to find out once we get into these matches.
Absolutely ready. And one of the big factors when it comes to LAN events, well, that's LAN event experience. And sure, AQM, they've had their fair share of experience, but as I mentioned, ended up, leaving rather early most of the time. On the side of SCMN, it is quite a bit better. World Finals 2021, that was top 8, lost to Reply Totem. We know what those guys became now, so no shame to that. MSI, top 4, lost to Zeta 1. So again, no shame to that.
Crazy at LAN, and well, what do you know? We're at LAN. We'll have to see how their previous victories translate over into this big arena. Definitely a big crowd as well. Can only speculate as to how much the pressure might get to them, because we did see the performance from AQM last year in front of a more intimate audience, but we did see the meta sort of arise as far as getting loud, getting proud as well, and sort of trying to intimidate your opponents with the loudness and with the expressions as well, and we saw that from STMN in full force.
Yeah, this is going to be a super, super fun match. Both teams quite evenly matched for very different reasons, but it's just going to be a great one to witness here to settle who will secure their spot in the top 8, make it all the way to day 3. On the side of STMN, I have to say they are going to be my favorites for this one. I feel like they just have a little bit of the edge when it comes to experience in the LAN setting, experience in general. We're talking about Bobby, OG, some of the longest lasting players in the entire competitive scene, and they're in great form. There were questions, even last year, of if they wanted still to compete the upcoming year, and their duo has held so strong. Zar adding a lot to the table as well. Recently, Sans too, again, can't quite make it here today, but what a powerhouse of a team for STMN. AC Milan Clash better be prepared.
No doubt. I mean, STMN, this is the team that we are familiar with in a LAN setting. It is unfortunate that Sans could not be here, but we'll just have to use that and draw upon what we've seen from this previously, where they did unfortunately go down to Zeta Division 1 when it came to that MSI, but I believe a lot of people were impressed with how they were able to perform versus that team. And of course, we saw them play earlier today. It has been very well proven. Zeta Division 1, they can bleed, but can they be brought to their knees? Only SK was able to answer that question. Is Stamina able to offer sort of the same retaliation? It's a mystery. We'll only be able to tell if we see that matchup happen, and in order to do that, they'd have to face versus AQM and take a win here.
Yeah, talking to both teams, they all kind of think they're the favorites in this one, which is interesting and says how closely matched it is. Truly, on paper, this could absolutely go both ways. I think the caster prediction somewhat reflected that too, and a lot of the players I've talked to said, yeah, AC Milan Clash, they've been playing really well. STMN maybe a little bit more inconsistent, but yeah, this late year form they have is very, very scary, and despite being the 3rd seed of NA, we just saw seed 2 of North America go home. A lot of teams consider them and rate them higher than that and have higher expectations from them. Love the basketball and, you know, NA sports jerseys on the STMN side too, really bringing the vibes from home, making themselves comfortable on the stage.
I mean, that's what it's all about, right? You gotta bring it back. I mean, the Brawl House was quite comfy here, but if you're able to wear some comfortable sort of athleisure on the stage, then that can maybe ameliorate some of the tensions. Yeah. I mean, okay, whatever. NA vibes all the way. I'm not even gonna pretend like I'm not a biased caster out here. No, still. STMN, I mean, definitely the focus of the discussion here for the English-speaking community, but for AQM, right, we talked about favorites here, and probably the favorite of the Spanish-speaking community, and when it comes to Latin America overall, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Reddy, I'm gonna ask you a question. If, you know, you had to make odds yourself before we see the predictions from everyone at home, what would yours be? Is it, you know, 50-50, 60-40? Where you at?
Going 65-35, but favoring STMN. I really do think that no matter where this match goes, no matter which way it goes, whether it goes to AQM, whether it goes to Stamina, it's gonna be a set 5. It's got to be close. These are two absolute powerhouses, and even speaking to some of the players from STMN particularly, they seem to think that it is going to be an extremely close match, and I would rate that as definitely a good assessment of this situation. Your number 3 seed in North America, as strong as you may be perceived to be, as strong as you perform in other lands, this is BSC, and you took number 3 seed. You're going to be faced versus a very high-seeded team in another region, and you deserve the high seed if you are the first to qualify in your region.
That's a very valid point because, yeah, they kind of brought this up on themselves, you know, with that slow start of the year and some shakiness in the mid part 2. But at least they're here, and that's already something that I'm sure makes you very happy too, Reddy. And they've come here to perform. I think that, you know, they now have the experience behind their backs to come here confident and aiming at much more than just that first round. It all starts here. With the team that loses here, no matter how ambitious they are, it ends here for 2022. But they're very hungry teams that have had some great successes in the past, and they're looking to repeat that this year as well.
Final stand for both of the teams in this upcoming match, and it is definitely going to be a doozy, a big barn burner too. Look at the enthusiasm of the audience as well. I see some tribe signs, not a whole lot of STMN or AQM, but at least you got to appreciate the competitive spirit of the live audience here. It's been a while since we've had one of those, and it's a wonderful spectacle to behold.
Well, here we go. Shooting Star is going to be our first map as draft is going to be kicking in shortly. 59-41, that's closer. I would have said 60-40 for me, so I'm very happy with what you guys predicted at home. I think it's a very close one. We both predicted STMN for this one, and I mean, you guys at home mostly did too.
Yeah, check out these rosters, and we're going to be moving into Shooting Star as well. First pick going the side of AC Milan Clash. Countdown over. What is it going to be? Got to go with the Sprout, and assessing the bans here as well. On the side of AC Milan Clash, Max, Gus, and Brock. On the side of STMN, Tick, Piper, and Eve. That does leave a couple of other throwers left. Grom, maybe the more likely of the two that are remaining, but Sprout is a first pick that's definitely quite risky.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, you really would like that Tick here. It is banned out by STMN. The Brock was banned by AC Milan Clash, so they knew that unless they banned both Sprout and Tick, they would still have a very solid thrower at hand. Gene is a good answer, one that will, you know, start off a little bit slower, but if you can get a great pull to open up those walls, or just any sort of clutch pull that turns around the lead, gives you the advantage, that is going to be the chance to do so, and a bit of a comfort pick for STMN too.
Certainly, and especially for Bobby here on the Gene. Here comes the Nanny as well, and this one actually is shocking to me that we have not seen this brawler banned out or even first picked, actually. This is typically the absolute gimme brawler for this map, and if you don't first pick it, then your enemy is going to go for it. And STMN, I would say definitely wise for going for this brawler. It is really one of the safest picks that you can go with, especially because you can get kills from max health on an enemy brawler without even putting yourself in danger. Get real up close to them, and with autofocus, you can even one-shot some brawlers.
Absolutely, and I think the reason they went Sprout over Nani first pick is just because of that Piper ban, right? Piper is going to be very, very scared of a Nani. We'll see the B, actually, as the answer here from AC Milan Clash, trying to, you know, get some more range available to their side. I think it's a very good idea, to be fair, just because you never know if there's a bit of a more aggressive or tanky idea for that final pick of STMN. And instead of Clash, they will settle with the Lola as their third and final pick.
Final pick coming in here, and this is when we usually see some of the more aggro, sort of tanky brawlers arrive, and Fang is definitely a popular pick when it comes to bounty. However, it might be kind of risky going to brawlers such as B and Lola, who can pump out a lot of damage in close range. Buzz also comes to mind, but could also go a completely different direction and play this one safe. Here's the Carl, actually, and that is going to be a brawler that can get in close range. Sprout is especially going to be victim. B also could potentially have some issues with this, but Carl's still going to be outranged by virtually all of these picks here and could face some adversity as a result.
Yeah, I like that Carl pick a whole lot. I mean, the mobility, there's just not that much that will counter it on the blue side of things, and Sprout is going to be vulnerable. The B is going to have to be very careful, good discipline on that super, but here we go. AC Milan Clash versus STMN, and Blue Star obviously picked up by the Carl, that gadget to early on secure the lead.
Always practically a free Blue Star when you have a gadget at the ready. Here comes the Peep already from the backlines. It's actually going to be breaking open a wall. Not all of the walls broken open. Motep's still going to be clinging on for dear life around this one obstacle. Meanwhile, around the right side, Hedge placed down. Things are really moving back for STMN. They could find themselves in danger, but they seem to be quite comfortable on this very defensive position.
Yeah, good pressure from STMN to push them back and create a little bit more space. They want to open up that map. Don't have a whole lot of options to do so. Kyodog is low HP. Zar not quite gonna go for it just yet. Bobby is low as well. Needs to be incredibly careful. One shot from BTZM would turn things around. Kyodog aggressive against Zar, and it's gonna be a trade, but STMN with that Blue Star, that gave them a one-star lead. Now, let's see if AC Milan Clash can strike back as we head in the final minute of this first game.
Bobby's patiently waiting inside of this bush, maybe trying to threaten Kyodog or Motep, but they can both counter out the Gene pull. Here comes another hedge down for VTZM. Still a slight corridor for Zar to face through, but he's not going to be keeping that wall up. Once again, placing around the left side and also pinching things in. Great kill from OG on the Kyodog. Zar now trying to get some position around the right side. And here comes the Peep. It's going to be going for VTZM or Motep, either one. An attempt to tank. Wow! Amazing piloting there. Another pull in, and Kyodog goes down. STMN, they're leading by such a large margin. Great kill from Zar. And AC Milan Clash have a huge margin to make up.
What a team wipe from STMN. 9 stars in the lead, and AC Milan Clash, this is their final shot as an answer. 15 seconds left. The pull from Bobby connects. VTZM is taken out of the picture. Just a couple more seconds here, and STMN should be taking that first game unless they can eliminate OG and Zar. They are being pinched. OG is low. Kyodog goes in. Doesn't find either. That's going to be first game going towards STMN.
very, very close there towards the end, and really expertly played by STMin in particular. Appreciate the consistent control and the consistent aggression of AQM. However, they were not able to turn that into an advantage in terms of stars or even in terms of kills, which is not usually the sort of way that you see this map played. It's either played extremely aggro at the enemy side in order to get a victory, or you play for more control around the middle of the map. STMN seeming like they're absolutely comfortable playing defense for the entire game. Once again, grabbing that blue star from Czar, a free one, and already aggression in from the guy.
Yeah, lovely pick up there from Czar as VTZM goes down. Blue star again, picked up by Czar too. So far, he's been doing a phenomenal job on the Carl. Kyodon getting up close, though, needs to be careful. He's one shot, the pull from Bobby connects, and that's 5 now in favor of STMN.
Motep continues to try and find position around the right side. Here comes the peep, but it's going for the wall break, actually. Already saw all 4 of those walls broken open on the left side. It seems to be giving a slight advantage to Kyodog. Meanwhile, big damage coming in. Here comes Czar. He's just looking to peel some of the attention off of his teammates. Great kill with return to Cinder. Another one onto Kyodog, and Motep's running for the hills. He's right back over to the right side to get another push going.
Whenever it feels like AC Milan Clash are starting to get some good positioning, Stamina somehow have been shutting them down. I think a missed pull from Bobby there, but there's a peep heading straight towards VTZM, and he runs into it. 2-13 now in favor of Stamina Esports. And AC Milan Clash, they need a miracle to save them from losing this first set.
Have to commend the great dodges from Kyodog so far. OG certainly a tough opponent to face versus. Here comes the hedge in on the left side, and Czar just keeping himself alive, popping that protective pirouette to take a little bit more damage. Here comes the Ego around the left side. Big pinch here from VTZM. Bobby's all alone. 1-2 kills for AC Milan Clash. They are still a significant margin behind STMN though.
Yeah, it's been OG getting so many kills this game, sitting on 6 stars now. He would be a very good target to take down, but another pull from Bobby. OG to confirm the kill, and start creating some space on the left-hand side. Should be more than enough to secure this first set in favor of the Americans.
They say that caster shouldn't talk about the draft, but I think we need to talk about this one. Nanny, it was shown in the stars, it was shown in the gameplay, and even in the pick phase, it was an omen of success for STMN. This pick worked absolute wonders for the guys, going completely undefeated that entire round. OG, he had 7 stars in the blue star at the end of the game. Just amazing draft and consistent stuff from STMN.
He had 7 stars in the blue stars, and that's considering the fact he used his speed mostly to open up the map. It's not like he was getting cancel potential on opened up. Won't have the same level of destruction capability that Brock will offer, but it can capitalize off it.
Yeah, and they might have to rely on Bobby to break open some of those walls at the beginning of the match. They really want to utilize Piper's true power, unless of course they decide to go for a wall breaker of their own, but the options, they're not too amazing. Colonel Ruffs can break open some walls, but even then, he's gonna have to work for it pretty hard, just like Piper. Here comes the Gus as well, and this is gonna be a strong power pick if they decide to compare, or rather combine the shield with counter.
Yeah, that shield that comes from the super from Gus in a late round, that can be devastating when the zone just forces you in a close combat sort of situation. It's incredible, but even before that, you know, keeping you up, keeping your allies up, getting that extra reload speed as well. But most importantly, man, that gadget, just getting those kills secured is huge. Nani, that's an interesting pick here. It seems like SCMN really value that pick highly.
Looks like it. I mean, excuse me for saying we might not be seeing Nanny here, because here she is. It, once again, is going to rely on a lot of wall break here, and I think this is pretty wise from SDMN because, well, Grom is still an option. Now, it's going to have to play very, very particularly on this map, should he have been picked. Here's a Colonel Ruffs as well, and that's going to be controlling pretty much all the wall break options that AC Milan Clash have. Unless they decide they're going to go for something like Griff, it's only going to be Piper on their side. They're going to have to play wisely in terms of what they go for their last pick. Fang is typically one that comes to mind here, but if OG does have those sandbags down, he's going to be countering out Piper, he's going to be countering out Gus, and he's going to be countering out Fang.
Yeah, I'm assuming that they are going to want to go for something that can deal with those sandbags. Don't have a whole lot of time left to choose, and it's going to be Squeak. Definitely an option that can, you know, make that work. Looking at the comps, it's an interesting one because both sides not really going for anything substantially, you know, wild or out of the ordinary. But I think both sides have their chances. I will say I like SCMN's comp just a little bit more, simple, I think.
Open, and Squeak relies a lot on having those corridors to fire down and play control around for the entire game. Already a lot of AQM backed into the very middle of the map. Coyote's in super low health. Double bounce there from Zar to grab the kill. OG falls though, and it's now down to a 2v2.
Yeah, beautiful trade there, pretty much saving that first round for AC Milan Clash, or at least not dooming it just yet, as Zar is trying to find some good bounces. Not so fortunate just yet, as VTZM gets a beautiful connection onto him. Another one now, and that means super available for VTZM. If you get hit by any of those little pellets, that is going to be devastating. That slow is very unforgiving. And Bobby,
no.
Yeah, that's a big connection. Surely they should be able to capitalize, but Zar is trying to create some space. Not quite enough as Bobby falls. Zar left in a 1v2 and not one. He is going to win eventually. Goes down, tries not to feed too many supers, but I mean, Motep is going to carry it over for the Gus.
Well, already though, 2 walls have been broken open on STMN's side, but AC Milan Clash, they might opt to play this one a little bit more defensively, trying to get the poison to close things in. Motep though does go for the lane switch and also shields up Coyote. VTZM forced out of position, even tapped up a little bit by the asteroids. Here comes the kill on Nazar. Great taps from Coyote, and this is the hazard. When you open up the map versus Piper, she's gonna go crazy. Another kill from Coyote, and it's just Bobby left on the battlefield. There's the kill onto VTZM. It's a 1v2. Bobby has the rocket fuel at the ready, but it might not be the right moment for this.
Yeah, he's just gonna go for a shot, doesn't connect it either. Eventually, a beautiful triple from Kaidog. What a phenomenal performance from him. Exactly what they needed on the side of AQM. A game secured now, and I mentioned it earlier, you know, Piper, that capability to capitalize against those wall breakers on the side of SCMN, and I mean, Kaidog has been shining so far.
Absolutely has, and can only expect that in the next game. Already wall broken open on the left side, not Coyodog's side, if you might notice that. Wow, great kill there with the return to sender. It's brought down to a 3v2. Coyodog needs the kill. Here's a homemade recipe. Nope, Zar stays alive, but down goes OG. Bobby on the left side still has to face versus Motep. He's outranged. Zar also colossal damage dealt to him, and here comes the supply drop around the left side. Big damage in on Motep, but he's invincible, it looks like. Coyodog falls, and it's all down to Motep to clutch up this round.
Wow, I thought again, AQM we're going to be able to turn things around, but Moitem in that 1v2, that's going to be a difficult one. Looking for some connections to get that super, but it's not going to happen. STMN won't let it, and the first round this time around is going their side.
VTZim, once again, at mid, ready to lay down some of that residue to slow things down, but he's going to have to get into a good position for it. Here is the Asteroid Belt, or rather the gadget from Colonel Ruffs, now blocking some things out. Residue already at mid as well. Great kill from Kyodog onto Bobby, brought down to a 3v2. Now OG's trying to keep things at range, and he's getting some pretty consistent damage versus Motep as well, but his main competition is going to be Kyodog, who's laying down the law versus Zar, who has no sandbags and no protection left.
2v3 here for STMN, still trying to turn this one around. Have two supers, but don't want to use them too early. If the round is lost, they want to carry them over to the final round. And yeah, this does not look very good here for STMN, as Zara is just hoping for the gas to spawn as quickly as possible. Does not want to feed any super. It's only going to be the Piper one carried over, so not the end of the world for STMN. 3 supers now available on their side. This is their chance.
AC Milan Clash, just one round away from taking the second set already. Need the kills here. Here's the residue around on the right side. Zar still left high and dry without any sandbags to protect him. Luckily for him, he's not on the lane of Kyodog, but Kyodog's now rotating over to that mid lane. Bobby also kind of out in the open. One shot, not going to be enough to take him down. Rotates over to the left side. Zar, meanwhile, on the right, still could get pinched between Motep and Kyodog if he's not careful. Everyone's on such low health. There's a kill on the Kyodog to start off, and here's the first peep as well. VTZim goes down. It's up to Motep to clutch it up.
1v3 here. Gets one, actually. Maybe a chance, but no. Bobby refuses to let them take that set. And that means that now we are going to game 3 for knockout.
Put AQM and STMN, put them in a blender, shake it up, and what do you get? A real scrappy match, and that is absolutely what we have expected. It's absolutely what we are seeing as well. 1-1 on set number 2. AC Milan Clash is still just one game away from evening out the scoreline. Motep on the right side, faced versus Bobby, is going to be at a range advantage as well. Also with the left side broken open. Oh, not going to work out so well for Zar. Kyodog with the jump back as well, but an eventual kill onto the guy from OG.
Wow, what a big tag there onto Motep. Can they finish him off? And
oh!
Final connection from Bobby and SCMN. One more round and they double down. Secure that second set. That would be absolutely massive for them. Off the bat, a peep heading their way. Kyodog super low HP, but still alive. That's something he's going to be very grateful for.
Unfortunate there for OG, though. It takes a while to get that first super. Bobby also getting pinched between a lot of enemies. What? How is he able to dodge this? He's just out of range. Down he goes to Motep, and it's brought down to a 3v2.
Eventually, they do find that connection onto Bobby, and this is not a good situation for STMN. 2 supers available for AC Milan Clash. They will make sure they only use them if they need to. Want to carry them over to round number 3, and that is going to be a great pickup from VTZim. Only OG left alive, and I mean, it's going to be the final round here that will decide who takes this knockout set.
This one's chalked for AC Milan Clash in this round. OG is just focused on getting that next super. He's got to make sure he doesn't feed any to Kyodog. Motep is going to be left with his super. Same for VTZim, and that's definitely a worthwhile asset to have. However, Zar still does have the treat around the left side. It's going to be making its way onto OG on the nanny. Big damage coming in. Almost a double slow, actually, as Zar was nearly not able to get out of range of that attack on Bobby. Still, though, they've shaken it off, but they have lost a lot of ground in mid.
Yeah, look how much space that STMN have conceded. The peep looking for VTZim, finds a connection. 300 HP. Zar is one shot, but he still lives. The super to relieve the pressure, but that rocket rain not going to find much of a connection there. VTZim playing max range and playing carefully, as this is a very, very important round. A big connection from OG. VTZim is low. Motep going in. That is going to be the first kill. Motep one shot. Can they find that final connection? They will. It's only Kyodog left alive in a 1 versus 3, and Bobby takes him down 2-0 now in favor of STMN.
Not a dominant set by any means there from STMN. However, this has been such an even match, especially coming off of the second set. Knockout, it never fails to deliver. But the nanny doesn't seem to fail to deliver either. That game-winning kill as well, and we saw it in set number 1, we saw it in set number 2. I'm not going to go ahead and say that we're not bound to see it in set number 3, because I've already been wrong once before.
I love what I'm seeing from both teams here. The strategy of opening up your side of the map, not something completely new, but something that is very welcome to see. SCMN, they destroyed their walls, so they have more space to navigate, more space to juke and dodge their opponent's shots. But I love the fact that AQM, they didn't care. They were still like taking those duels and taking those fights, trying to get those out mechanics and some great positioning as well. I think Motep had a fantastic game, as well as Kyodog on the Piper, but it was still not quite enough. Looking at the stats, I mean, DPS, diff, kills-wise, it's incredibly close, but SCMN just barely going to be taking this one.
No doubt, and I mean, what a beautiful set there for Kyodog. Despite not taking the W overall, the homemade recipes one after the other to clutch up an entire round, though, was simply beautiful, and it looks like the Piper pick paid off in that specific matchup. The others, however, didn't seem to come through, and we saw, actually, the Nanny breaking open so many walls, as well as Brock making the same thing happen, and while it was a risk, it paid off for STMN as well. It seems like they're very in tune with what risks they're willing to take and how exactly they might turn out.
Yeah, one of the things I want to compliment as well about AQM has been their ability to trade. You know, how many times did we see an instant kill from STMN early in the round, and somehow ACM